Good evening and welcome to Micro Live. Tonight we look at the new amendment to the Copyright Act and ask, is this sort of thing making us a nation of criminals?
And I'll be looking at the way computer dealers learn their sales talk, while our American reporter Fref looks at how computers are helping to sell a corporate image.
Do you ever wonder whether computer dealers actually know what they're talking about? I was in a well-known high street computer store last week and I overheard a woman being sold a Commodore Plus 4 home micro under the impression she was actually buying the much more popular Commodore 64. Well, that's a bad enough mistake for a home user, but imagine being sold the wrong system for your business. In the end, of course, it's all down to the dealers. So how do the better dealers stay in touch with what's new?
There's a major computer event happening in this hotel, but it's one you may never have heard of.
What's the markup?
Well, we supply you from £10 a unit, and our recommended retail price is £50.
One of our little technical people sat in with a very gloomy look on his face, said, all we need is a name like Pink Software.
Where's the catch?
No catch.
There's got to be a catch. This is the computing industry, for God's sake.
This is Soft Teach, 2 days in which computer product manufacturers display their wares, but not to the general public. This event is only for dealers. Many of the companies here were showing products which were brand new, like this version of the integrated package Open Access from SPI. This is iOmega's mass storage system for PCs. It's called the Banui box. Inside the cartridge there's a floppy disk, but when spun it has all the properties of a hard disk. It's capable of storing up to 10 megabytes, but unlike a real hard disk, it's rugged and portable.
Artificial intelligence is an area that's gathering an awful lot of concern right now from magazines. You can't pick up a
MDBS were pushing what they claimed was the first useful artificial intelligence package for business, and making extravagant predictions about the future.
Right now, and we're finding that certain people are suggesting that by 1988 sales will be over $2 billion. People are suggesting that by the end of the decade, sales will be over $4 billion. Now, that's more than what we're seeing in database or spreadsheet or word processing or productivity tools combined.
Their product is called Guru. It's what's known as an expert system shell. One of their demonstration programs is a farming expert. By asking questions about factors like date of planting and pest problems, it can advise on the best course of action. So is Soft Teach just an excuse for some more hard sell?
No, not at all. This is a training forum. This is where the dealers come in and they have an opportunity to spend 45 minutes with each vendor. And the whole point is that they learn how to sell the product, features and benefits. It's not a show. This is intensive, very serious training.
Welcome to Soft Teach. How many of you happened to see our last presentation 6 months ago? Oh, that's a good number. Do you remember Andre, kind of the stout guy that came here before, showed a picture of his family? Yeah. I brought a picture of my family, too. As you can see, he had remembered...
One of the most popular presentations, Satellite Software, promoting WordPerfect, their word processing package.
Okay, we think you'll agree. WordPerfect 4.1 is now going to be the most perfect WordPerfect ever.
This new version sells with over 80 new features, such as an improved spell checker. There's even a thesaurus if you're stuck for words. And something unusual, it also allows you to word process with the text in columns.
As you can see, this is a picture of our competitors when they saw a list of features in 4.1. It's going to be a very nice release. We hope you and your customers enjoy the product. We know you're going to make a lot of money with it. We know your customers are going to like you for it.
At least the WordPerfect presentation had some light-hearted moments. 2 days full of 45-minute seminars is exhausting. Despite the lure of free T-shirts, calculators and pens, it was perhaps surprising to find dealers there at all. Their reputation for understanding the products they sell is very poor.
45 minutes is not enough to become an expert. But by golly, these guys are saying to you, by coming here, I want to be expert. I want to be able to help you, Mr. Customer, in running your company more effectively.
A dramatic approach was used by One-to-One, one of several competing electronic mail services.
Hello!
Telecom Gold are the market leaders. We're the last into the market. I would estimate we're in second place now. Telecom Gold, without being too rude, take the attitude, well, we're out there. You catch us up if you can, and why should we join you?
Cynthia, where the hell are you? I've had Jenkins on the phone 4 times already, and Robertson called... Cynthia, don't cry. You had an upsetting experience driving to work. I did warn you about buying that C5.
Electronic mail has got tremendous potential. I don't think it'll be realised until all the services have an interconnection. One-to-one is willing to do this. I wish the other service operations were just as willing.
All right. I'll expect you when I see you. That's all I need. No secretary for the day.
One-to-one electronic mail, Mr. Rimboard.
Rambo.
Looking at Soft Teach, you'd think everything in the computer industry was rosy. So whatever happened to the recession?
Well, I'm not sure that recession is the right word. Since 1980 to maybe last year or recently, if you didn't talk 60 and 70% growth rates in the microcomputer industry, everybody thought you failed. But go to another industry and talk about 5% growth rates every year, and everybody will give you a prize. So let's just scrub recession and call growth not quite as much as it was a few years back. So the good people will continue to survive and continue to run good, profitable businesses.
This is a new adventure game called Fairlight from software house The Edge. Like most software nowadays, it has various forms of protection to prevent it being copied and to stop anyone listing it to discover the programming secrets. But in this month's copy of your Spectrum magazine, there are details of how to break through some of that protection. By using various pokes, it's then possible to increase your lives, to carry more goodies and so on. Well, I've been joined by Dr. Tim Langdell, Managing Director of The Edge and Chairman of the Guild of Software Houses. Tim, does it worry you that that kind of information is being published?
Well, in this particular case, no, for a couple of reasons. One, what they've printed doesn't actually help the reader to make a copy of Fairlight, which is a major concern. And two, they've actually gone and hacked into a version of Fairlight which there's very few copies in the marketplace. So some other pokes are needed for virtually every Fairlight that anyone might have.
It's a totally different version. They got it wrong?
Yes, they've got a very early version that nobody else has got.
I see. But to be clear now, you don't object to people hacking in just for the fun of it?
Quite, yes.
Right. Well, Tim is also on the board of FAST, the Federation Against Software Theft. Well, I'm actually surprised you got time to come on the programme, Tim. And that was instrumental in getting this amendment to the 1956 Copyright Act passed by Parliament. It came into force on September the 16th this year, and now, for the first time, software has the same protection against piracy as music or literature. Tim, before I ask you about the Act in detail, are you happy with it?
Well, obviously we're extremely happy that copyright in respect of computer software is now recognised. And we're not 100% happy with the Act. There is a reform, I believe, going through within a year, and there are a few changes we'd like to see then.
Right, let's get absolutely clear about this. What is now illegal?
Well, making a copy of a piece of software is an infringement of copyright. Unless the publisher actually says that you are permitted to make a copy, it is an infringement.
Any copy, for any reason, is illegal?
Essentially, yes. Technically, and that's now true.
Now, Tim, for years we have been told it's common sense to make a security backup for your own private use. Is that now illegal? You're telling me it is?
Well, we have to draw a distinction between a civil and legal problems. What the Act has given us the power to do, and what we're primarily interested in, is where people are making copies for commercial gain, either swapping them, selling them, or whatever. We can now take very serious action in those cases.
But are you going to be taking action in the case of somebody making a single backup copy for himself?
I would be very surprised if people in the publishing community are concerned about people making true backups. It's when they give the backup to a friend or give away the original copy and use the backup that we're concerned.
So nobody is going to be prosecuted for a backup? Is that what you're telling me?
I would be surprised, but I obviously can't speak for the whole industry.
Right, well, let's move on to what I'm sure most people would think is illegal, and you certainly do, and that is the case of children who swap in the playground. Now, what is going to happen to them under the new legislation?
Well, anyone who actually starts swapping programs, copies of programs, or sells them to friends, or indeed sells them commercially. There are advertisements in the back of newspapers and so on, advertising that these are for sale. They are liable to have action taken against them now.
And will you prosecute a 12-year-old?
I think we've got to very seriously look at any case. We would be approaching the school, the headmaster, if it's taking place in the school. As for specific cases, I don't think I'd be fair to judge on that.
You're not going to tell me whether, in fact, you will prosecute?
It's very difficult to sort of make a statement. It's, insofar as it is wrong now to copy software, maybe, but I just don't know.
Right, well, let's come on to something which I demonstrated a few weeks ago, which is this unit here. It's the beta disk drive, which enables you to put software which is on tape onto a disk if you've got a Spectrum. Is this now an illegal thing to use?
Well, that's a very good question. There's not a simple answer at this moment. My view, personally, is that where a product like that is used to make a disk copy, where you couldn't otherwise make a disk copy, there isn't a disk copy in existence, then it seems a fair enough device. But where it is used to make a disk copy and then you give the original to a friend, or it makes copies which you then give away or sell, that is infringement of copyright.
Right. Can I ask you just to sum up then, why should nobody ever copy software? In 20 seconds.
Well, quite simply, if we could cut down copying, I seriously think we could see a higher quality of product, we could see cheaper products in the marketplace. I think it would be benefit to people who buy software.
Right, Tim, well, that's all we've got time for now, but I'm sure this is an issue we're going to be coming back to. If you've got any views, please write in and let us know. But meanwhile, Tim Langdell, thank you very much.
Thank you.
The Labour Party unveiled its plans for information technology in a major policy document this week. The shadow industry spokesman, John Smith, says Labour has a 9-point plan which will provide markets, finance and skills needed to develop the IT industry. The document emphasises the need for companies and unions to work together and says there should be a national training strategy developed. Just over an hour ago, Britain's leading professional computer exhibition, Compec, closed at London's Olympia. Underneath the exhibition gloss, there was a nervousness among manufacturers anxious about the current slump. Some of the big names, Microsoft, Apricot, Lotus, decided to stay away. The industry is going through the worst depression it's ever known. However, that didn't stop some exhibitors launching new products. Like this system, which can freeze a frame from a video camera. It converts the grey levels into colour and prints out the result. The printer uses inkjet technology and can reproduce 36 colours. In fact, printers were much in evidence at the show, with prices dropping as performance improves. One clear trend to emerge is printers offering a choice of fonts, like this latest from a Japanese manufacturer. It wasn't only hardware and software that was on offer. High-paid jobs were being promoted too. The exhibition is sponsored by Computer Weekly, which this week publishes a recruitment supplement aimed at the elusive skilled worker.
For the first time, there are half a dozen recruitment companies exhibiting at Compec. Their presence at the show reflects the increasing shortage of skilled people in the computer industry. How the industry meets the demand for these skilled staff is one of the major crises it faces.
And finally, from Japan, the latest in memory, a plastic card with built-in chips. They have a claimed storage of up to 1 megabyte, are difficult to pirate, and this one contains a prototype pocket version of WordStar.